given great attention in prayer here in this parish. I know that Father Towie speaks about this issue often, and it's important that we speak about life issues at Mass and from the pulpit. But to focus our attention on why we're here tonight, our focus, I guess, is on Ireland, a land known to us as a land of saints and scholars, a land that is responsible for bringing the Catholic faith to so many parts of the world. And of course, Ireland is a place that gave priests to countless countries when the faith was taking root, like our own. We talk about how in Scotland we hardly have any priests going to the seminary, but in actual fact, we have always struggled to produce our own priests. Thank God we had Ireland, our nearest neighbour, to export priests and to hand on the faith. And until recently, the Catholic world kind of looked to Ireland as a great bastion of the Christian faith, a light in the midst of the world, a world that increasingly seems caught up in the darkness of moral decay. And one of those lights in Ireland was the belief enshrined in the Irish Constitution that every human life is equal under God. A mother and a child equal under the law. It's hard to believe what has happened in Ireland in such a short time. How could Ireland consider abandoning such a rich heritage? And so the proposal to remove the Eighth Amendment, which gives protections to the unborn, let's be honest about this and up front. This proposal would change everything in Ireland. It would make Ireland the first nation in the free world to accept on-demand abortion through the direct will of the people. Not through a parliament as such, but through the will of the people, a referendum. And Ireland would also become the only nation in living memory to seek to remove a right from the Constitution. And so many nations are trying to bolster rights in their legal framework. Ireland is seeking to remove a right from its constitution. The gravity of the Ireland question, it was summarized very well recently by Cardinal Dolan from New York. This is what he said. He said, "Behold the baby in the sanctuary of the womb. Once that sanctuary is violated, once that society deems it legal to invade it, the integrity of the natural and the supernatural are ruptured. And we have no safe place, no secure place left to go." Violating the womb is the most serious violation, since it is the home and the sanctuary of innocent life. It is a violent action which more than any other advances the culture of death. We are here tonight in prayer before the Blessed Sacrament. We are here to promote and to be ambassadors of the culture of life, the culture of life, the culture of acceptance, the culture of welcome, of love, of embrace, of motherhood, of fatherhood, the culture of family, of faith. It is the culture that advances a yes to each and every life. And to advance the culture of life is to understand the dignity of every human person, from its earliest and most fragile moments in the sanctuary of the womb. It is to accept through our reason that from the moment of conception there exists a separate human being with everything that that entails. And it's good for us sometimes to go over what that entails. A separate human being with a distinct genetic code, a distinct gender, eye color, blood type, fingerprints, and innumerable other personal characteristics that are all his own or her own and different from the mother. A unique human being, unlike any other that has ever been and ever will be, that has come into existence. All that remains once the person exists is for that person to grow. You and I were the same once. A living human being in our mother's womb. And imagine this. At just 18 to 25 days old, that little heart starts to beat. By 4 weeks, blood circulation is moving. Arms and legs, little lungs and ears are forming. All of this before a mother is even likely aware that she's pregnant. At 42 days, brainwaves, measurable brainwaves, all the organs in place. This new little person is now moving and kicking, too small still for his mother to notice. At week 9, the iris of the eye, the fingernails begin to appear. This new person can swallow, move the tongue, and gesture in so many other ways. By 10 or 11 weeks, all the body systems are functioning in this new person. By week 12, you probably have seen the pictures. The child is sucking the thumb, practicing to breathe. All of this in the first 12 weeks of life. Incredibly, this is the time frame up to which abortion would be permitted in Ireland, with no limits and no questions asked. How did Ireland get to this position? None of these facts that I listed, none of them are disputed by either side of the debate. These are scientific facts. You can get them on the internet. You can get the pictures that show them. And they are sign to us that what we are praying for tonight is not some sense of you hear people talking about it, a blob of tissue. How many times have we heard people say that? Nondescript cells. This is a human person that we're talking about, unique and different from its mother. A mother does not have 4 eyes or 2 brains. There are 2 people in existence here. All of this is human logic. It's something that any properly rational person can understand. We sometimes call it the natural law. People of every faith and of no faith at all can and do recognize the truth that abortion is the taking of innocent human life. And no argument, no circumstance or need can ever justify it. We've heard the expression, the end never justifies the means. Now, as Catholics, we recognize even deeper reasons why abortion is wrong. We know that God is the author of all life. We are not merely the products of some separate biological process. We are loved into being by God, who chose each one of us and who calls us by name. God has chosen every life and has a plan for every life. And it is not the place of others to destroy it. Indeed, human life is the only gift. It is the only gift that any of us truly possess. And we are able to defend it tonight because we have been given the opportunity to live. Blessed Mother, or Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she spoke often about the precious gift of life, and she lived among an environment, of course, where she saw how life in some ways had become very cheap. Life was not given the dignity that it deserved. And this is what she wrote and said. She said, any country that accepts abortion is not teaching its people to love, but instead it is teaching to use violence to get what you want. That is why the greatest destroyer of love and peace in our world today is abortion. Archbishop Collins, very well-known archbishop in Canada, Toronto, he also said this. Beautiful words. He said, a community's worth is measured by the way it treats the most vulnerable. And no one is more vulnerable than in the first 9 months of life's journey. The moment that we say it's justifiable to put an innocent person to death for whatever reason, you cannot have a healthy, prosperous, humane, and just society. Human dignity is either absolute or it is not. Again, Mother Teresa, she said, the so-called right to abortion has pitted mothers against their children and women against men. It has sown violence and discord at the heart of the most intimate human relationship. It has sought to destroy the father's role in an increasingly fatherless society. It has portrayed the greatest of gifts, a child, as a competitor, an intrusion, an inconvenience. Human rights, she said, are not a privilege conferred by government. They are every human being's entitlement by virtue of our humanity. The right to life does not depend on the decision of another. So today then, we are here to stand firmly on the side of life. Our role is to be certainly informed about what's happening, but not to respond with anger. That's a temptation. we need to respond always with love. To not respond with despair, but with hope. Not fear, but trust in God. And we know through our own experience of life that prayer is our greatest aid in any spiritual battle. And certainly prayer is our greatest aid in this battle between the opposing cultures of life and death. So today then, let's add our own humble prayers to those of so many around the world who are fixing their attention on Ireland, the land of saints and scholars. May the Lord touch the hearts of everyone in that nation, their leaders, their politicians, bishops and priests, and all the people. May this great movement of life defend the children of God, whose destiny is in the hands of others. Amen.